Hey, welcome back to my channel, Indieauthor Jill. If you don't know me, my name is Jill, and I read and review self-published books and books that were published through independent publishing houses. Today we are looking at The Hellfire Room by Dresden Greene, and like most of the other books pretty much all of the books that I've reviewed this year, what happened is I went on Threads and I said, hey, give me a list of all your self-published books. I'm gonna read and review a bunch of them for my YouTube channel. I got, I think, 200 or so links. I put them all on a wheel. I let the wheel choose which books, and I just bought books until I ran out of money. I didn't really have a number of how many books I was going to get. I just kind of went based on, okay, I have X amount of dollars to spend. Let's buy some books. And at the time, I only had about $100 per month that I could spend on books. So I just chose like 4 or 5 books a month off of the wheel until I had enough to kind of get me through the year. Anyway, when I got to The Hellfire Room, and that one pulled up, I don't really look at the descriptions of the books when they get selected. I just, okay, this is the book. Because of the link, I just follow the link to whether it's to their store or to Amazon or whatever. I go and find the link. I click on the link. I buy the book, and I let it get sent to me. Then, when it's sent to me, usually then I'll kind of look at the back of the book. When I first saw the cover, I wasn't really sure about what kind of a book I was getting into. I guess when I saw the cover and I saw the title, The Hellfire Room, I kind of expected it to be this kind of, like, almost a dystopian fiction where, you know, you've got these kids that get collected off the street and taken into, or maybe their parents can't afford to feed them, so they kind of get sent off to this organization or whatever, and there's the Hellfire Room, and if you're disappointed, if the organization is disappointed in you in any way, then they lock you in the Hellfire Room, or maybe the Hellfire Room was a kind of a punishment chamber, you know, like a fight to a death cage match type thing. I wasn't really sure. And when I got into reading the back of the book, everything that I had supposed about the book was completely thrown out the window, because it has nothing to do with any of that. It takes place, I believe, in Europe, I think, from what I understand. The main character is Nicole Barber. And then there's also Damien and Clockhill? Yeah, Corkhill. Damien Corkhill. And it switches back and forth between these two POVs. But basically, to give you an idea of what the book is about, Nicole is, her mother gave her up when she was 5 to a group home, walked away, never looked back, and she was raised by nuns in this group home. And then when she aged out of the system, she ended up in Helmouth with like $100 or so in her pocket. And then she was like, okay, I have no idea what to do. So she just like checked into a hostel, and then when she left the hostel, she ended up being turning to kind of a life of crime, stealing bread because she was hungry. You know, mainly it was just stealing food, and she only stole what she needed at first. You know, food and money or whatever. She learned to pickpocket, and eventually she got taken in by Osvaldo, which is a big crime boss in Helmouth, and he kind of raised and trained her up to be a better criminal, basically. And he tried to give her a gun at one point, and she drew the line at that. She's like, I will steal whatever you want to steal. I will threaten whoever you want to threaten, but don't give me a gun. I'm not taking a life. That's a line I'm not willing to cross. And eventually she decided she was tired of the small jobs that Osvaldo was willing to give her, and she wanted something bigger. She enjoys doing like heists, like museum heist. And I may be in the wrong with this, but because I am a law-abiding citizen, I'm not going to rob a bank, and I'm certainly not going to rob a museum, but I love a good museum heist story. I am a huge fan of the Ocean's 11 series. And, what is it? The Nicholas Fox series. I like the Nicholas Fox series because you've got this con man, and you've got this cop, and Nicholas Fox is the con man, and she's basically, this female cop is basically kind of his handler, and the whole series is, hey, we're gonna go pull this big job, but it's gonna take a massive con. Nick has been talked into being the insider to pull off these cons for the government to take down bigger criminals, and it's right up his alleyway. And the cop that has been chasing him for years is like, this guy can't be trusted. Never mind that she's totally into him or whatever. But I digress. Like I said, I just like the heist movies, the heist stories, and so the story kicks off with Nicole breaking into a museum, and so right away I'm hooked. And Nicole gets into a museum, and she goes about her business. Unfortunately, she's caught. And Damien, the rookie, cracks me up because he's on the case with Rufus, Clyde Rufus, and Clyde Rufus has arrested Nicole several times, interrogated her several times, to the point that the two of them have become buddies. And so when they catch her at the museum, they go to arrest her, but the way they arrest her is absolutely unconventional to Damien. He is completely puzzled by what's happening, and he's like, did I just step into the Twilight Zone type situation? Because Rufus, he sees Nicole, and he's like, okay, come on, Barber. And he turns around and starts walking away. Doesn't cuff her, doesn't read her rights, doesn't say she's under arrest, just like, hey, come on, follow me. Like a teacher leading a wayward student to the principal's office. And so they start walking down the hall, and Damien's like, we're not going to cuff her, we're not going to read her rights, we're just going to, okay, I guess we're doing this. So he walks behind them, and he is just absolutely baffled because you've got Rufus sitting there walking next to Nicole. Her hands are free, she can come and go, do whatever she, like, if she decides to bolt, she can bolt, So they're walking down, and he kind of, as they're walking and passing by paintings, he's like, oh, hey, check out this painting. And they're just talking like they're good friends or whatever, and Damien's like, what kind of funny juice did I just drink this morning? Because what is happening right now? And of course this is happening at night because he's got the night shift, but like, Damien is just completely baffled by this exchange because it's not how things work. They get to the police station, and this is where Damien finds out she's been interrogated for 27 different crimes. This is her 27th time being interrogated. His boss makes him go and get her a ginger beer because she's like, I want a ginger beer. And he's like, you really want a ginger beer? And she's like, yeah, I want a ginger beer. And he's like, all right, go get her a ginger beer. And Damien's like, are you kidding me? And he's like, she's like, do what he says. Do what your boss says, rookie. And Damien, this is where I get cracked up with Damien, because Damien's like, I'm not a rookie, I've been on the force for a month. And it's like, sounds like a rookie. Only a month? Like, you still got some time to, you still got some learning up to do. What I love about this story is that as it goes on, Dresden tells you a lot about the story you're going to be reading, right from the first 2 chapters. Right off the bat, you are getting into both of their point of views. And Nicole is telling you very clearly she does not trust anyone. She plays it close to the vest. She doesn't give a whole lot away. She doesn't open up to a lot of people. But here she is opening up to the reader. And in a way, by what Dresden does with this story is so masterful in the writing, because she makes the reader part of the story. And if you as the reader are paying attention, you start realizing that there are some inconsistencies between what the character is telling you and how they're acting. So with Nicole, she is telling you she doesn't trust anyone. She won't open up to anybody for any reason. She is closed off. Desmond is telling you he's a little bit more open and trusting. The good guys are the good guys. The bad guys are the bad guys. There's black and white. There is no middle ground unless you get to his sister. Now, his sister is a good kid. She's just mixed up with the bad crowd. But that doesn't apply. He doesn't apply that same logic to any other criminal out in the real world. If you're doing bad, you are bad, unless you're his sister. If you're doing bad, you're just mixed up with the wrong crowd. You're just a good kid that made bad friends. Everybody else is a bad guy. With Nikki, she knows that not everybody is what they appear to be. This guy who's in a business suit, who is constantly doing community service and charity work, she knows there's a really good chance he's got a dark secret he's hiding. And the more charity work he does, the more likely he's hiding something, because he's overcompensating for his bad deeds. You know, she sees things a little bit more clearly, and she is so terribly observant that even Damien, I don't know why I keep calling him Desmond, but even Damien keeps underestimating her to his own detriment. But she's telling you, the reader, everything. She is opened up to the reader in a way that she's not with anybody else, because even though she'll tell you she's not opening up to anybody else. And when you see her interacting with everybody else, she doesn't open up to Damien. She doesn't open up to the captain. She doesn't open up to the closest people that she opens up to the most. She opens up more to PJ than she does Rufus, but she opens up to them more than she opens up to anybody else around her. And even then, she's still opening up to us, the reader, more than she is them. And what that tells you, as the reader, if you're paying attention, is that the reason she can open up to us, the reader, is because this is all being told in the past tense. It's being told third person close, which is you're sticking with Nicole when you're in her point of view. Everything, you're noticing everything she notices and nothing more. You're not really worried about what Damien is thinking, because she doesn't know what Damien's thinking, you know. So what this tells me as a reader is that Nicole is sharing with us, because the story is being told in the past tense. She's still kind of distanced from it because she's telling it in the third person, but she can be open with the reader because all the things that were making her stand closed off and to be protected, those threats are no longer there. She's telling us, the reader, everything's going to work out. You just got to trust me. Stay with me on this journey. It may not work out the way you think it's going to, or the way you expect it to work out, but it's going to work out, and I'm going to survive it. You just have to stay with it and trust me. You already see her character growth from the very first page, just because she's opening up to the reader. But you're also seeing how that character growth happens, because as you go through the story, you see her start to open up, and where she's opening up and closing down to different people. But she opens up to Rufus a lot more, especially when she finds out more about him, and she tells him at one point, she confesses to him that you're one of the only cop friends I have. You're literally the only cop I trust. And, like, she doesn't even trust Damien, and she even shows and says she doesn't trust Damien. Damien, on the other hand, he is very closed off. He tells you exactly what you need to know, no more, no less, just the facts. He is very closed off to how he feels and what he thinks, and he's more telling you the facts. He's leaving his emotion and his abstract thinking out of it. The most you get is like when Osvaldo comes to visit him, and there is evidence of Osvaldo's visit. And in Damien's mind, all of that is easily overlooked, because as far as he's concerned, the only evidence of Osvaldo's visit is his own broken phone. And he hides Nikki when she comes home after Osvaldo has left. She comes in, barely says a word to him, and goes into the bathroom to kind of clean up or whatever. And he's like, oh, she didn't notice the cracked phone. And he puts it in his pocket and he says, I'm just not going to tell her because I don't want her to stress. And that's the closest you come to his thinking and his thought process. Other than that, he just tells you, hey, he came, he visited, he wasn't pleasant about the visit, and then he left. And then Nikki came home. And he doesn't talk about how that visit made him feel, what he thought about Osvaldo and his goon at all. He doesn't tell you about how it makes him feel when he looks at Nikki and realizes that the reason she came in and went straight to the bathroom was to get cleaned up because she had encountered a thug that beat her up. And he doesn't tell you how seeing her like that makes him feel, what he thought about it. He's just surprised that she came in and she was all beaten up. He holds that close to his vest, and again, you're seeing his character growth, because when he's talking to others, he's telling them exactly what he thinks and how he feels, but he's holding back on us, on the readers. And again, you're seeing the character growth where, as he's going through this case, he's getting more and more jaded, and he's realizing that things aren't what they seem. He realizes, okay, there are cops that are corrupt, and they are playing on the wrong side of the field. There are other kids like my sister that are out there, and they are wrapped up in bad business, not because they're bad kids, but because they got into a bad situation, or they feel like they're trapped. You know, and he starts realizing that, hey, some of these kids are, like, they're only in their 20s. They're just children, you know. And so he's starting to see that some of the bad guys are actually good guys, and some of the good guys are actually the bad guys. And everything is getting muddied and gray for him. And he's, again, showing you that I wise up. Again, he's saying, stay with the process, trust the process, stay with the story. I promise it's all going to work out. I am still going to be a good guy when this is all over. I'm going to be a little bit more jaded. I'm going to be a little bit more calculated. I'm going to be a little bit more closed off. But it's just me learning how to be a better cop and understand the people around me. That's it. So, like I said, I think that it's a great, if you're looking, it's one of those stories that is a good masterclass of how to write this kind of a story. And I think Dresden Greene did a great job with it. As usual, I am going to leave the book link in the description below, as well as a copy, a link to one of my books, and an address if you guys feel like sending me a book. You don't have to, absolutely not necessary. But really, again, like I said, I do this because I enjoy these books, and I enjoy helping other authors market their books and get their names out there. And this is definitely one that, like, I read half of this book in one day. It's such an easy read. So that's all I've got for you today, and until next time, I will see you guys later. Bye.